Vikings versus Redskins.
Oh, let me see it. Oh, man.
Who we got?
Redskins.
Oh, ho, 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 ho! Get that shit off. What are you doing?
No! I forgot to put this on. I'm going with this.
What, the Marvel hat?
Well, I found this hat the week when we played the Giants. I found it back in the eBay room.
Oh, okay.
We were 2-2, and we got our NFL shipment today for eBay, and this was in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I found this the week of the Giants, and I'm a big believer in all that weird karma shit. So I've been wearing it.
All right. Wearing it works. If it's stupid but it works, it's not stupid.
Good morning, Gallahorn. We're back with Dave. If you didn't know already, Ted and Drew. Oops, should be pointing that way. And we're here to preview this Thursday night game where the Washington Redskins, that team from Washington, comes to Minnesota, the U.S. Bank Stadium, to challenge your beloved Minnesota Vikings in prime time. Drew, how you doing?
Dun,
Dun, dun, dun, dun, dun. You mean your Minnesota Vikings that have won 3 straight? That's what you wanted to say.
Yes. And Kirk Cousins, who has been off the chain, literally the best quarterback in the league the last 3 weeks.
That's some pretty hip lingo for an old guy there, Grandpa. Off the chain.
Off the chain.
How are you doing, fellow kids?
That's right. All the Philistines in California.
Uh-huh.
Doing good here at hippie time. I got the lucky hat on still.
Yeah?
Superheroes, baby. Superheroes.
3 weeks in a row. We're going Marvel.
You wore that and the Vikings have won 3 in a row?
Yep. Haven't shaved either.
That's got to be it.
It's like I learned in the Army, boys. If it's stupid but it works, it's not stupid.
How you doing, Ted?
Gentlemen,
Here it comes.
if I was any better, I'd be against the law. Let's light this candle.
Start the show. Now the show starts.
All right. So, what do you think of this short week with the Washington football team coming in, and they're not doing so good? They've only got 1 victory. Stomped pretty good in a absolutely lousy weather game last weekend. How do you think it's going to go, Drew?
I think we're going to roll this week. Short week is tough for them. I think Zimmer is not happy with the defense, and I'm looking for a big bounce back game defensively. We should rock the Redskins this week. I'm looking for a good. I'm looking to continue the streak and move it to 4. This is our game to lose. Washington is not very good. They've got a lot of problems internally and player-wise. They're not very good statistically. When they get into the numbers later, you're going to laugh at their offense. Their offense is almost dead last. They don't generate any points. They're only getting 12 points a game. This is going to be a fat Vikings win. But remember the Buffalo game last year. I mean, I'm still, as a Viking fan, you're never 100% sure. But I'm feeling pretty good about this week. The Vikings are playing really well.
So you think Zimmer's going to put his size 12 up the backside of the defensive team?
Yeah, they had some shots of him Sunday, and he was pissed. He was angry. So, there's one thing. When it comes to the defense, I think the offense, Zimmer just kind of rolls either way. But when it comes to his defense getting throttled, I don't think he likes that at all.
Oh, not at all.
I'm thinking there's going to be a lot of pressure. I don't know if you guys have heard who's going to be starting at quarterback. I'm kind of hoping they throw Haskins in there so I can get the double excitement of watching him getting smashed in the pocket, smashed in the mouth, and torn to pieces. But
I thought it was Case Keenum. Was
Yeah,
announced.
Bill Callahan said it's Case Keenum's their guy for the rest of the year moving forward.
you know what's kind of strange is the last time we played this team, the quarterbacks were flip-flopped.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
So, I'm got to take care of business. Don't beat ourselves, and we'll come out fine on the other end.
Okay. Ted, how do you think this is going to go?
I'm with Drew. I was fortunate enough to be a guest co-host on a different Vikings podcast yesterday.
You can mention it.
with Ed Broadmarkle. It's called Scolders, and he brought up a very good point. I think it rings true. On short weeks like this, generally it's kind of like college football because everybody's beat up, everybody's hurting, and it's whoever has the more talent generally wins these games. And I can't find a position group when I look at these two teams where the Redskins are better than the Vikings at. On a short week like this, at home, not having to travel, looking at the numbers we'll bring up later, I'll be shocked if the Vikings lose. And Drew brought up that Bills game. There was a big thing to that Bills game last year, and that was Everson Griffin's mental health crisis episode. And I'll tell you that when a guy like Everson Griffin goes down in that manner, that close to a game, I don't care what anybody says. That I think that had a lingering effect on that team, not only from the Bills game, but for 3, 4, 5 weeks later on. Because Drew, you've been in a band with you're really close with just a few guys. Dave and I have been in the military, same way. One of your buddies goes down in a manner like that. It just shakes you, man. You don't expect something that you don't expect something like that to happen when you're in your 20s and in the prime of your life and the absolute peak physical condition. I think that I just throw that Bills game out when we talk about favorites and all that. I think the Vikings are going to really take care of business on Thursday.
Now, I think it was yesterday, the Vikings were favored by 15. Did I see that right?
Yeah, yes. 15.5, I think, is what I saw, but it might have changed, yeah.
Wow. It's going to be interesting.
Dave?
That's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah, it is.
Even in today's NFL, that's a lot. I mean, I think the Patriots were favored against the Jets. 12 or something like that? And if anybody watched that game, I feel sorry for you. Like me, that was horrible.
I don't want to be a high favorite, to be honest with you. I never liked that scenario. So, ask Wisconsin about that being favorite shit.
Playing St. Mary's School of the Blind. But the numbers, those are the first numbers. What other numbers do we have, Drew? How's it stack up?
Standout numbers this week. We moved up. We're now 6. The Minnesota Vikings, guys, are 6th in offense and 6th in defense.
Drew, I saw something from you. You would put like the progression of the offense. Do you have that in front of you? Could you go over that from like where they were at the end of the Bears game to where they are now?
They were 25th at the end when they went in to play the Giants, and then they were 18th offensively when they went in to play the Eagles, and then they were 11th going into Detroit last week. So it's gone 25 to 18 to 11 to now 6
in 3 weeks.
Yes,
that's impressive.
The Bears one was right around where the Giants were. They didn't fluctuate much from the Bears and Giants. They were still about 25th or 26th. But in 3 weeks, they've gone from 26 to 6.
That doesn't happen in the NFL very often.
Very odd. Very odd. I'm wondering if actually I even got the numbers right. So everybody out there, I may have messed this up.
I'm wondering if a fairy godmother came by Kirk Cousins' house with the wand and went, "Bling, you're not going to play well." And this is unbelievable. Not that I'm complaining. I'm not complaining. I wanted to continue.
Giants game, we're averaging 324 yards a game, and we're up to 391.
So at 324 going into the Giants game, you said?
Yes, 324 a game.
391 total offense.
391 total offense.
And they had over 500 yards of total offense last week, right?
503.
Yeah, okay. Jeez.
So 6th in offense. A few weeks ago, we were 30th in passing. We're now 17th. We're still the 3rd best rushing team. It's always Ravens, Niners, us every week. The Redskins' defense is a bit on the shoddy side. They're actually better against the pass than the run. They're 12th against the pass, but they're 27th against the run.
Really?
They give up 134 yards a week, much like Detroit gave up 133 yards a week. So you're kind of rolling with the same game plan, I think, this week.
Yeah, sounds like. And Cook had, 145 yards on the ground last week?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
The Redskins' offense is rancid, baby. Yeah. It is, man. It is stinking it up. The Redskins' offense is 29th overall. They're 31st against the pass. There's only one team worse against the pass.
Who's worse throwing the ball than Washington, you know?
Offensively?
Yeah.
Who was it down there? It might have been the Jets.
Oh, that would make sense. Yeah, okay.
They're 31st in passing, they're 24th in rushing, and they're 30th in scoring. So,
wow, they're terrible all the way around.
Vikings are at home. They got the crowd. They played poorly defensively last week. I use that term loosely, but the secondary could have played better. This is a good matchup for them to bounce back with some. We're talking 6-7 sacks. The Redskins have allowed 18 sacks, which isn't very good. I mean, we've only allowed 12. They've allowed 18. We got them on turnover ratio. We got them on everything this week. This should be a roll job.
Wow. I knew they were struggling. I didn't know they were that bad on offense.
Yeah, I mean,
that's
a
terrible.
professional NFL team, and they're averaging 267 total yards a week. I mean, that's
in total offense.
Yeah, they have 183 yards passing and 84 rushing yards a week.
Dave, you got some nerd DVOA numbers?
No, I said, I haven't had time to look them up this week.
Okay.
This is a week that, man, the Vikings should roll them pretty heavily.
Historically, we all know how we feel about the Vikings in prime time and the Kirk Cousins narrative, and it's not an inaccurate one. It's a storyline, but it seems to me that if ever the Vikings were going to do well on a primetime game, it would be at home against a really bad opponent. I mean, if the Vikings don't, and I'm not saying they won't, I think they'll play very well, and I think they'll win by a couple scores, more than likely. If they don't, though, that narrative that just irritates, it just grinds my gears more than anything is going to blow up, and it's going to be the story in the NFL Friday, Saturday, and into next week.
Oh, especially with Keenum and Peterson. If they win this game with those two, that's gonna lay it on even thicker.
Oh yeah.
You cannot let Case Keenum come back into here, especially with the state of the address of their team is in. You can't let him come in here and win the. No way, dude. Yeah, it'll be all that good shit. Slide right down the crack.
Oh yeah.
This hat in the fireplace. Done.
This is down your leg all in one game.
Yeah, that cannot happen. But it's the Vikings, so we never know. What do you think, Dave? What do you think is going to happen?
It should be a roll game. It should. Yeah, everybody's tired. It's a short week. It's a short week for both teams, except for Washington has to travel. And they were on the coast last weekend, so this is their second road game in a row. So they're going to be even more tired. And I agree with Ed that there's not that much time to put in new planning and offenses and stuff, defensive type schemes during a week because it is a short week. So you're relying on previously learned stuff and the talent. And by far, our talent level exceeds theirs tremendously. Yeah. They are the worst team in the AFC or in the NFC East. And it should be a walk. The only caveat is it's prime time and the Kirk Cousins narrative. But I think that narrative is gone. It's been gone the last 3 weeks. Now granted, those weren't prime time games, but I've never seen him play like this. And if he continues to play like this, it's going to be, whoa, buddy. The rest of the league is going to sit
Whoa,
back and
Nelly!
take notice.
Dave, nobody in the history of the NFL has played as well as Kirk Cousins has in the last 3 weeks.
I know.
In terms of yards and passer rating. That is a record-setting performance. So I will disagree with you, though, that he hasn't ended that narrative because he hasn't played primetime games. And every detractor he has says, well, who have you played? And even if they win on Thursday night in primetime, folks that support Kirk Cousins will say, well, it's a primetime game. But detractors will say, yeah, but it was the Washington Redskins. So the narrative is going to continue until he beats 2 or 3 really good teams in primetime. And he's going to have that opportunity in the second half of the year. As well, I'm not just him, but the entire team.
Dallas, Seattle, and KC, we may have Mahomes or not Mahomes playing.
Do you think the fact that Cousins is playing his old team, is he going to press too much, do you think? Or try to do too much? Or you follow what I'm saying? I know he really is chomping at the bit. You always want to do good against your old team.
I think the Vikings game plan coming into this is going to be to let Dalvin Cook play early to sort of get because I absolutely agree with you. I think Kirk Cousins is going to want to prove to everybody in the Redskins organization that they were stupid for letting him go, and he's going to want to throw a 99-yard, 52-point touchdown pass on the first play.
Yeah,
I mean, that's just human nature.
It's not good when he presses it. When he presses and he tries to force things. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but the last 3 games he's played with a chip on his shoulder.
But he hasn't played the Redskins. This is his old team.
I think what's going to happen is they're going to let Dalvin Cook be showcased early to sort of get Cousins into the flow of the game. And once he's gotten past that initial, I'm going to show you guys, then he's going to light it up. I really believe he might have a quiet first quarter, but I think that's going to be because Dalvin Cook is going to be playing good football. And then it's going to be, murder, death, kill, baby.
Okay. I worry about Cousins when he gets a little, when he gets
valid point. Very valid point.
When he starts forcing things is when he's not playing well. Yeah. So,
speaking of playing well, our offensive line has gotten better and better and better, game after game.
Give them some love. Hip hop, hippity hop.
I mean, and even Elfline or Bradbury's definitely gotten better, but they started out low and they haven't gone up that much, but they've gotten better. But as a whole, that unit is gelling. And we've talked in the past, an offensive line needs to gel together. It thinks as one, it does movements as one. They are getting better, and they are rounding up and getting better by the week. That is going to look good for us going into the second half of the season once we get there.
What is that soulless, godless killing machine in front of you?
It is a killing machine. His name's Jeffrey. I'm ready. The last 3 weeks I've been calling him Kendricks. Guess how many sacks the Minnesota Vikings have allowed in 2 weeks?
I believe it's 0.
Only one.
Only one. Oh, really?
We allowed zero last Sunday and only 1 the week before.
Oh, okay.
Well, it's
to what Dave's talking about, the offensive line seems to, be gelling and coming together.
Well,
yeah, I will say, just to kind of play devil's advocate a little bit, the level of competition has gone down somewhat considering who they played in the first part of the season. However,
that's true.
Although the competition's gone down, the Vikings have gotten more experience, especially guys like Garrett Bradbury and Pat Elflein playing a new position. And as they've gotten more game reps, they are kind of walking, talking, aviating, communicating more as one unit as opposed to 5 guys, which we saw a little bit earlier in the year, I think. And now that they had some tough competition, and they sort of come out on the other side, and they're a little bit better for it. And now as we move forward to the second half of the season, you'll have like 10 days off. Hopefully they can avoid injuries, and now they've got this unit that's gelling, and that's going to bode well, I think, as the competition again picks up as they get to play Dallas, and we have 3 more divisional games against really tough defensive lines and all that other good stuff. Seattle, that's a good defense. There's some stiff competition coming up, so I think these games right now are really going to help prepare these guys for the games to come.
I would agree. That's a good point. What's going on with Adam Thielen this week, guys? I know the listeners out there are probably waiting. How come they're not talking about Thielen? So, yes, no, maybe. Pick up the pace for BC Johnson. Does this mean more targets to the tight end? What does it mean? Tell me what it means, guys.
Dave, what does it mean, Dave?
I heard today he's ahead of schedule. He might actually play. I don't necessarily want him to. I want him to heal. He only did this Sunday. Even if it's a minor hammy, hammies can linger and cause more problems. I'd rather get BC the reps. Let BC take his spot. Let's see how that does, and we shouldn't need Adam Thielen this game.
That's a good point. Yeah, if it's the Bears or the team from Wisconsin, we'd probably be forced to maybe play him, but I don't see any reason to have him out there for playing the Redskins. If we can't beat the Redskins without Thielen, then what are we?
Right.
A very bad football team. I would argue, Dave, you mentioned that he's healing faster, and that's true. And I would kind of make the argument that would be even more of a reason to keep him out this week. Don't play him Thursday. Now you've got 10 days to rest before – who do they got next week? Is it Kansas City next in 10 days? Mm-hmm. Kansas City and then Dallas on the road?
Yeah, with trying to remember.
Because that gets him to – yeah, I think – so anyway.
Look at us. None of us have the schedule in front of us. We are one prepared show, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
If he's ahead of schedule and he's like borderline close to playing, I would argue if you sit him out Thursday and wait those 10 days, he'll be back to 100% when the Vikings really, really need him. Not that he's not needed on Thursday, but as Dave, you mentioned, and Drew, do the Vikings – is Adam Thielen essential on Thursday night? I don't think so. I mean, I think
it would benefit BC Johnson to get those reps as well.
Well, let me ask you guys a question. Now that Thielen's hurt, one of my personal favorites, Marcus Sherrill's got cut, presumably to make a move to add a wide receiver to the 53-man roster.
Josh Doxson?
I don't think he'd come off the IR yet.
He comes off week 9.
Yeah, the Niners got Sanders. Emmanuel Sanders.
I saw that today, yeah.
Are you talking about in terms of us getting somebody from another team, Ted?
No, I'm just saying, who do you think? I mean, I think that the most logical choice would be Davion Davis, who's on the practice squad right now, wide receiver, to just have a body there to play. But I don't, I think you can go. I think you can roll with Diggs, BC Johnson, have Herb Smith do a lot of your slot stuff, and Kyle Rudolph, those guys had a really good day on Sunday. So
what other wide receivers are on the active roster besides the 3 you just mentioned?
I think that's it right now.
Well, you got to have one
Treadwell.
more.
Well, you got Treadwell.
Well, it's basically like 3.
But
so they cut him to free up a roster spot. They're going to get a wide receiver. Is what you're saying? They're going to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we saw he's going to be cut week 9 anyways, most likely. Because you're going to get Hill back and Doxson back.
Yeah. So right now you've got, on the roster, you've got Treadwell, Thielen, BC Johnson, and Stephon Diggs.
That's pretty thin for the National Football League wide receiver core. I mean,
on the practice squad for wide receiver, they have Davion Davis, Alexander Hollins, and Dylan Mitchell. So I would expect one of those 3 guys to get put on the 53-man roster before Thursday.
And that.
Wow. Back to the schedule. We have Washington in 10 days off, where we go to Kansas City. Then we go to, on the second game of the road trip, we play Dallas on Sunday night after that. Followed by a home game against the Denver Broncos.
Oh, you'll be able to see that game, Dave.
Yeah, locally. It'll be on local TV. And then we have our bye, week 12.
So we got back-to-back roadies in there, Chiefs and Cowboys. That's a huge part of the schedule, guys.
Yeah,
we pull off 2 wins there, coming out of the Redskins.
We pull off 2 wins there, and then the Broncos should be easy, and then we go into a bye.
We got to build up a bunch of wiggle room for the Viking meltdown in December. You know that. So.
Well, they also got to win to keep pace with Green Bay, man. I just
Fuck, what's up with those shitheads?
Lucky.
So yeah, it's
Yellow flag. Ooh, against for Green Bay.
We're what, 5-2 on the way to 6-2. So 6-2 is what I had for a best case scenario for. Well, not best case, but my preseason was 6-2 at the first 8. So
I think I had 5-3. So prove me wrong, Vikings.
yeah,
Don't lose Thursday.
you're going into Kansas City. For me, call me crazy, but that's probably the game you need Adam Thielen back in.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is why I think
Right.
if he really is ahead of schedule,
Just
what,
resting.
what teams and players say is what teams and players say.
Now
But
when
if he
you're
really
dealing
is
with,
ahead, yeah.
you're
If he
dealing
really
with
is ahead of schedule, yeah.
you
Go ahead.
kept
Sorry.
97% healed with a hamstring. You need to be 1-0-0, baby.
Yeah.
Or you're going to end up like Miles Austin. That guy still has hamstring problems.
Or Dalvin Cook last year. How long did Cook's hamstring injury linger?
That's
6 or 8 weeks, I think.
great example, dude. It could linger forever. You got to let it heal completely.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'd much rather Thielen sit out and be completely healed up and ready to go if in fact it is healing and he's ahead of schedule.
I'm kind of in agreement with David Stefano. See more of BC Johnson. I like the way he plays. His confidence. I want to see more of that guy on the field. I want to see.
Yeah, he really seemed to gain a lot of confidence as the game went on yesterday.
He doesn't back down anything, man.
And so did Kirk Cousins in throwing to him. I mean, he
Yes.
threw to him down on the goal line in a really, that was a really tight game. The Vikings were either tied or down by a touchdown when he threw to him. He threw to him on a couple key third down spots. I mean, that really helps the quarterback in terms of, hey, I can get this guy. I can count on this
guy. I can count on Irv Smith Jr.
Yeah.
I can
Let's roll. Let's go, baby. Let's go.
Was it
count on
the more
Rudolph if I have to.
more tight end work because Thielen went out? Can you attribute those together? I
think
don't want to say
yeah.
the word correlate like I'm talking about pass protection or anything, but
No, I think there's a correlation there. I bet between the two, they had 10 catches. I think they both had just for around 100 yards each.
sure.
I bet they got 3 or 4 balls that would have gone Thielen's way.
Right. And Rudolph had 5 catches?
Yeah,
So he picked
they both Irv and Kyle had 5 catches.
Keep the shit rolling, baby. I'm loving what's the Viking play right now. 42-38. Loving this offensive output, man.
Yeah.
like 1998 all over again. Anyway.
It's better. It's the most productive 3-game stretch in terms of yards, even more so than the best 3 games in 1998 ever put out.
Wow. That's amazing.
Hell, Carmichael wasn't even on the cover of ESPN, the magazine.
Harold Carmichael.
That commercial with Randy Moss and Chris Carter.
Yeah.
Speaking of history, Drew, have you got your trivia?
I like that graphic you made for me last week, Drew's Trivia.
Yeah, that's awesome. So
I'm not doing it unless I get
that
Al
was,
Campbell.
that was 2 weeks ago, too.
Not the Fantastic Finishes song. I'm not doing it unless I get that song. Al Campbell, baby. Okay. You guys can work these out together, but there's a possibility of 40 points. The record is 24, held by Ted Roger Glover, bass player for Deep Purple. Number 1. I heard a ding. That's cool.
I heard a ding, too, but I was wondering where the heck it came from.
The Vikings met Washington in 1976 in the first round of the playoffs. We all remember that game. Here we went to the bowl. First off, what was the final score?
35-20.
Point. Point.
Well, you had to be 10
You have to.
in 76.
1976 NFC Divisional Playoff. Yep.
Good
You were
memory,
10
right?
years old.
I was 9.
Damn, that's pretty impressive that you were at least 9. Now you have to give me a quarterback, a running back, and a wide receiver from each team. And that's worth 6 points.
All right. So for the Vikings, it was Fran Tarkenton, Chuck Foreman, and Sammy White. For the Redskins,
Okay, wait. You're frozen.
Oh, okay. All right. So you said quarterback, running back, and wide receiver for each team.
Yeah. You said Tarkenton?
Tarkington, Chuck Foreman, and Sammy White were the quarterback, running back, and wide receiver for the Vikings.
Okay, those are all three on that list. Excellent. 3 points. You froze. That's why I had to ask you over, because you froze for a second.
Okay.
We're all good. Now for the Washington Redskins, I need a quarterback, a running back, and a wide receiver that played in that game in 1976.
Billy Kilmer.
Correct. He was the quarterback. Excellent.
John Riggins played briefly. He wasn't there,
Yes.
but he was there.
Played in that game.
What was he, a rookie?
He was. No, he'd only been with the Jets
Before he was on the Redskins.
Yeah.
The rookie with the mohawk.
Wide receiver. Who would be a wide receiver in that game? I'm going to say Art Monk, but I don't think I'm right.
Incorrect.
Dave?
You got to guess.
Grant.
Yes. Yes.
Who?
I guess it's Frankie Grant.
Okay.
Good
job, Dave.
Your other choices were Mike Thomas, the great Mike Thomas, Roy Jefferson, old number 80.
Yeah.
Calvin Hill, who played for the Cowboys later. The late Jerry Smith, rest in peace. And Larry Brown, number 43. So, but you got all the points. Excellent job. I didn't think you would get Grant. I thought that would be the guy you wouldn't get. So that's 6. That's 7 points already. Okay. From the same game, you got to give me those 2 straight-on kickers that kicked straight on.
Fred Cox and Mark Mosley.
Oh!
Dang.
That's fat right there. Another 2 points racked up on the long term. Mosley and Cox. That's right. Okay. Now we're moving up.
Boys.
We're moving up. 1986, Week 9. The Vikings lost a crazy game in overtime to the Redskins, 44-38.
Okay.
A crazy game it was. You don't lose many of those in overtime. Who were the 2 head coaches in 1986?
86 would have been Jerry Burns for the Vikings.
Yes.
Would have been Joe Gibbs for Washington, I believe.
Wait. Yes. Correct. 2 points.
Okay.
Nice job, dude. So you got 7 and 2. I'm adding up the old. You got 7 and 2, 9. 9 for the other sheet. Okay, here we go.
What did Joe Gibbs do after he retired?
Ran a racing team. NASCAR owned. He still does, doesn't he? I don't know if he retired.
It's one of the best
owns a NASCAR
teams
racing
in the game.
Yeah. Joe Gibbs Racing, baby.
I don't have any Joe Gibbs racing questions, but I do have who are the quarterbacks from that same game. And might I add, our quarterback threw for 490 yards that day.
In 86?
86. Who were the 2 quarterbacks who played in that wild, wild overtime game?
Wade Wilson?
Incorrect. Dave?
I can't. I was in Saudi Arabia. Sorry.
Tommy Kramer?
Yes.
Tommy Kramer? Okay.
That was it.
It doesn't count, but was that my wait? I can still use that as my mulligan, right?
Yeah.
Hey,
That's my mulligan.
Your mulligan. Can you name the Redskins quarterback?
Joe Theismann.
Incorrect. It was Jay Schrader.
Jay Schrader.
Got 1 for that.
All right.
You're rolling with 12 points right now, halfway to your record. In that game, 7 different Vikings players caught passes from Tommy Kramer. You get 1 point for every player you can name that caught a pass.
Anthony Carter.
Correct.
Jake Reed.
No, that's your mulligan.
Ooh.
6
Leo
more.
Lewis.
Leo Lewis, 159 and 2 TDs, baby.
Are you kidding me?
Woo! That's probably more yards than he had for here, wasn't it? He did something that day.
Alfred
You got
Anderson.
5 more. Alfred Anderson is on that list. 4 players caught passes that day.
Steve Jordan.
Correct. 3 more.
Rick Fenny.
There's your loss.
Doggone it.
Up with 4 on that one.
It's still good. That's the
It's good.
80s. That's
There's your best for Darren Nelson, who caught 12 passes that day, or something
Wow.
like that. Ted Brown was still on the team.
Oh, Ted, you idiot.
Don Jones. Those were the 3, but you still got 4
Hassan
out
Jones?
of 7.
All
Yes.
righty.
So Nelson, Brown, and Jones. Now we're shooting forward to Week 10 of the 2017 season against the Redskins. I think Dave might have been at this game. Didn't
I
you? go to
was.
Okay.
this? He should be able to help you on this. Oh wait, he was probably drunk, so he probably can't help. FedEx Field, the Vikings won 38-30.
Yes.
You got to give me both quarterbacks who threw for over 300 yards that day. Who was each of them?
Case Keenum, who was playing for the Vikings at that time, and Kirk Cousins, who was playing for the Washington Redskins.
Ding, ding, ding. Isn't that weird? Ding,
Yeah,
ding.
it is weird.
So that's 2 more. That's 9, 11, 12, 16, 18 points.
And who was wide open that day and didn't get seen and thrown to?
Probably me.
Um,
Wide open that day.
Remember?
Diggs.
Diggsy. I could see it clear as day. From I was up in the first seats of the upper deck. Perfect view of the field. And he was wide open, and Zimmer was infuriated.
Mixed
But I
up in
mean,
the
we had
coverage.
a good
wide
game.
open? Like wide open.
Like wide open, like in 10 yards closest defender type wide open. It was,
wow.
and it was, yep, but Keenum would turn around and hit Thielen on the other side. And it was just, and
Did you have a good time there, Dave?
yeah, it was a real good time. And then the fans, the local Redskins fans around us were real nice. It wasn't like going to Philadelphia or someplace like that. It was nice.
But then again, what is?
Yeah.
In that game that we just mentioned, the 2017 game, 4 different Vikings had touchdown passes. How many can you name? You get 1 point for each.
Diggs and Thielen each had a touchdown pass.
Meow meow.
Diggs, Thielen,
You were there.
Come on.
Kyle Rudolph.
No.
No. All right.
I'll look
I
at
don't remember.
but
Diggs, Thielen. Latavius Murray.
incorrect.
Yeah.
The last 2
Morgan.
were David Morgan
Uh-huh.
That's right.
and Jarius Wright, our boy Jarius.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Child. Okay.
Now, what else was great about that game? Come the
Here.
second half, where I was sitting was more on the Viking side, right? You could hear the skull clap, and it was drowning out most of the Redskin fans, and some of the Redskins fans were joining in.
Seriously?
Really?
Yeah. And what's other weird about that game was watching. I was out on a concourse getting a beer before the game started or between the half, and watching the black Suburban limousines and motorcades coming in because there was quite a few politicians that went to that game.
What jersey did you wear to that game?
I didn't wear a jersey. I just wore straight Vikings gear.
You didn't wear that
Minnesota
Charlie
Vikings
Daniels
hat.
flannel that you're wearing now, did you?
No, I didn't. I was in purple. I was in purple. I
Oh,
was
good,
representing.
good. Okay. Next, we got, we have our overall question. They've played
Yes.
26 times. How many of the Vikings won?
Oh, it's like even. It's like 13-13.
Yes, that's correct. I'm going to quit asking that question because you're looking them up by now.
It kind of was. I will admit I did look that one up.
That question is now off the charts. Okay, here's my favorite question of all of them.
All
This
right.
leads towards the finish here. You still got a chance at 15 more points out of these 2 questions.
Jeez, okay.
And right now you are sitting at 9, 11, 12, 16, 18, 21. You're only 3 away from tying your record.
All righty.
In the early 1980s, the Redskins had a group of players they called the Fun Bunch.
Yeah.
You remember the Fun Bunch. The Fun Bunch led to that rule of excessive celebrations in '84. They made the rule that you can't celebrate anymore. It was because of them. they had 4 players that were mainly involved in the Fun Bunch. But you know what? I'm not asking you about the Redskins Fun Bunch. No. Because 2006, there was another Fun Bunch that played for the Ohio State Buckeyes. They called themselves the Fun Bunch. We all know about Ohio State, don't we?
Yeah.
There was a group led by 4 players from Ohio State that called themselves the Fun Bunch. You get a point for every one of these 4 players you can name.
It would have to be Terry Rubisky,
That is
wide
wrong.
receiver.
That is incorrect.
Is it really?
2006, dude. 2006.
Then it had to be Troy Smith,
It was Troy Smith. That's 1.
Anthony Gonzalez,
There's 2. 2 of the Fun Bunch from Ohio State.
Antonio Pittman.
Oh.
I've never heard that. Honestly, I've never heard that.
And you used to write for Ohio State.
I find out information all the time.
Who are they?
I do homework for the show. I don't sit around fly-by-night slouching it every week. The
Who are
last
they?
2 were Ted Ginn Jr.
Oh, yeah. Duh.
and Santonio Holmes.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Still got 2 of 4. I thought you were going to ace all 4 of those, though. Okay. Here we go. Washington Redskins retired numbers. I don't need the numbers. I don't care about the numbers. I want the names. There are 11 people on the Redskins list, 11 players that have their numbers retired. Oh, wait. There's also a visual question. Ready?
Yeah. As in a retired person? George Allen.
No, that's the whip. You get it. You're going to pull for it. Remember George Allen?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, he's not one of the 11. Go ahead. You got a point for that.
John Riggins.
That is 1, yes.
Art
No,
Monk.
wait. Oh, yeah, he is. He was the 7th player retired. Riggo.
John Riggins, Art Monk.
Correct.
Joe Theismann.
Daryl Green.
Charlie Daniels got Joe Theismann.
Daryl
Who'd you
Green.
guess? Daryl Green is on the list. That's 4 for 4. Now be careful. You only get 1 mulligan. You got 4 of the 11. It's very good.
Sonny Jurgensen.
That's excellent. You got the old Sonny boy with those droopy ass drawer pants. He looked like a hard playing quarterback. You got Theismann, Jurgensen, Daryl Green, John Riggins, and Art Monk.
Oh, the guy they just had, the dude, the linebacker. They just had his retirement ceremony.
Yes.
Hell
of a linebacker.
He was. And they misspelled his name on the plaque.
What?
I'll come back to that one. Sammy Baugh.
No, but I'm not going to count that as a mulligan. There's some kind of weird controversy going on with Sammy Baugh that his number's not retired. I don't want to get into it, but it's some kind of weird thing. They haven't retired it yet, but they have retired it, but they haven't. It's a weird thing, but it's not officially retired number yet.
Okay.
Why? I don't know. He's like the greatest player ever to play for that team. Really dumb.
You get Russ
I'm not
Grimm?
going to count that.
I was going to say, it's got to be somebody from the Hogs like Russ Grimm.
Not Russ Grimm. So you have no more misses. You got to get them all now with no more misses.
Well, Billy Kilmer.
No.
All right. I don't know. I'm done.
So you ended up with 5.
House.
No, that's a TV show, Dave.
Lynn House.
Who was the linebacker that I couldn't think of?
London
Chris
Fletcher.
Hamburger.
London Fletcher. That's it.
Fletcher.
Doggone
Not
it.
Hamburger. I thought Hamburger would be in there too, but he's not. That's kind of strange. 11, 12, 16, 18, 20, 21, 23, 24, 29.
Damn.
New record.
With that, let's wrap this puppy up, just like
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins is going to do Thursday night.
Final score predictions. David Stefano.
Oh, no. We win. I'll grant it, we win, but I'm not going to throw a number on it. Every time I do, we do lousy. I've stopped it. It's like your hat. No.
Okay.
30-13 Vikings.
Fucker. I had 30. I'm gonna. Okay. Damn it.
All right, I'll go 30-10. You keep with yours. I'll stay.
I was going to go 27-13. I know people are going to think we're going to be up by 50 burger, but I think we're going to get 27-13. That's it.
Yeah. Okay. That's a good score.
What I'd love to see is that defense pitch a no-hitter. Put a goose egg up on that board.
Yeah, that would be cool. I don't think it'll happen, but it'd be cool.
Hot take.
Mm-hmm. So,
I want to hear a Ted Glover story from 1970s. You got a Glover one? Yeah, Don Glover story?
So 1975. This is the year before the 76 playoff game. I got two stories from 75. I'm only going to tell one. And because we're playing the Washington Redskins this week, I'll tell this story. The Minnesota Vikings played the Washington Redskins on a Monday Night Football game in 1975. They were 10-0 coming into that game, and they were an absolute juggernaut that year. And I don't know about you guys, but when I was a kid, I got to watch Monday Night Football, but I could watch the halftime highlights with Howard Cosell, and then I had to go to bed. Okay. And that was a little bit past my bedtime anyways, because it was close to 9 o'clock, and I was 8, 9 years old. I think my bedtime was like 8:30, whatever it was. So the Monday night game is on, and it's the first game I can remember, or maybe the second game that I can remember that the Vikings had ever been on Monday night. It was really cool. It's not like it is now. It was like an event. I mean, Monday Night Football back then was like everybody watched it. And there were only 3 channels. It was Monday Night Football or crap.
Or mod.
and so the it gets to be halftime, and it was a close game. I really wanted to stay up and watch it. And I kind of knew what the rules were. My dad was a really big stickler for the rules. My father was very much, this is your bedtime, you're going to go to bed, and that'll be the end of it. And so I didn't really want to ask, but I wanted to ask. And so I watched the halftime highlights, and I was all mopey kid Ted. Mopey kid, little Teddy. Oh, okay. Well, good night. And my father looked at me and he said, "You know what, son? How about we make a deal?" And I'm like, "What's the deal?"
Right.
If you promise when your mother, because my dad left for work really, really early. If you get up right when you're supposed to, and I'm going to ask your mother, but if you get up right when you're supposed to and you go to school and you don't complain, I will let you stay up and watch the rest of this game. And I was so fired up. I was so happy. And the Vikings lost the game 31-30. They had like an extra point blocked at the end to tie it or something. But yeah, that was like one of my very early memories of watching games with my father, and it was Monday Night Football, and let me stay up late to watch the Vikings Redskins game from RFK. It was cool.
Dude, Don Glover bent the rules?
He did. And I'll tell you what, he did ask my mom the next day, and I got up, I went to school, man. I was not going to go against what he told me.
He checked in on you, right?
Told me, did our son go to school exactly when he was supposed to? Yes, he did. Okay, great, awesome. Yeah.
Monday Night Football started in 1970, so by 75, it was really building a lot of momentum. Yeah. It was a big thing. I mean, the rock stars were there going to it. It was like a crazy thing.
And it was the first time the NFL had during the season where everybody watched one game. Yeah. And by everybody, the entire nation, all of ABC. That was it. And it was awesome. And for growing up playing football at that time, we'd play the theme song to that and get all pumped up before our games, without a doubt.
Good memories. Brings up a lot of good memories.
Any last words there, Mr. Mint Can?
I would say it, meow, meow, Viking cow. I would see you cats on the flip-flop.
Ted?
See you in Miami. Super Bowl, homeboy.
We're there.
Go, Vikings! Let's win this game!